this hurricane edition. We're getting the trailing edge of Hurricane Ian. But I am chauffeuring tonight, brought two of my girls to a dance at a church. They're doing ballroom with a bunch of friends, and so I enjoy that for them. Not for myself, but I enjoy that for them. There's a time when I enjoyed dancing, but not so much anymore. And probably just because I don't have the energy I had when I was young. And even though I did ballroom dancing, what constituted dancing back in those days was not really dancing per se. But anyway, I digress. So we have lots of friends who are displaced in Florida right now, or I should say friends and acquaintances. And then I do know firsthand some stories of individuals who, as of this time, have lost entirely their home, their cars. One family who had been missionaries lost not only their home, but the basis of their business, which was a boat that they had that the husband used to generate income, his sole income. He had a charter business, and that boat is destroyed. So their house is destroyed, their boat is destroyed. But fortunately, none of their lives are destroyed. But still, can't imagine losing absolutely everything. So I'm sitting in my girl's Mercedes-Benz 97 C280 Mercedes-Benz. The last of the C-Class body styles that had any remote reliability. So even though it's 25 years old and it's got a couple quirks, it's a good car. Runs nice and smooth. It's pleasant to drive. It's definitely a cruiser. It's not something for carving up any mountain passes for sure. So let's talk about Gavin Newsom, the supposed possible either frontrunner or one of the frontrunners for the presidential candidacy in 2024, assuming Biden bows out. He is the governor of California. He has definitely made the news, not only as being governor of the most populous state, but also because of some of the decisions he's made. He's faced a recall election, which had a lot of controversy around it. Of course, he's created some scandal for himself, including imposing draconian mandates during the pandemic that he decided to publicly flaunt, like many of the progressives do. And anyway, not a good guy. Well, so what did Gavin Newsom do? He signed into, I believe it's law, although I might be wrong, it might have been an executive order. I believe the headline I saw was law. He signed into law a law that allows teenagers who are underage, female teenagers who are underage, who are pregnant. No, I'm sorry. Wrong law. He signed into law a law that allows teenagers outside the state of California, without the consent of their parents, to come into California to get so-called gender affirming surgery and health care. So in other words, he's going to violate the laws of other states, but more importantly, he's going to violate the God-given rights of parents to prevent their children from doing stupid stuff. Now, you won't find in the Bible anywhere where it says the age of 18 is the cutoff for an adult. And, I know some states have tried to enact gender inclusive health care for even as young as like 14 or 15, or saying, once they achieve close to skeletal maturity, even though they might not be 18 yet. So you are seeing that as a growing trend publicly. But Gavin Newsom has taken this one step further. So what this will allow, in California at least, is kids who have been blocked in their own states from getting so-called gender-affirming care to go to California and get that care. I do the air quotes because it's not care, it's evil. Allow them to go into California to get it done in violation of the parents' rights, in violation of the law of the state where that child came from. That's what Gavin Newsom has done. That's exactly who is going to be running 2024, mark my words, and I'm not alone in saying this, for President of the United States on the Democratic ticket. And they will find a way to remove Joe Biden, but that's what we're dealing with, that kind of mindset. And God forbid he gets in 2024 and he manages to retake the House, because 2022 sounds like the Republicans are going to get it. But then it manages to either maintain or grow the Senate majority. There's a lot of pundits that are saying that the Senate may not swing Republican this next election. I don't know what to believe. I know only 1/3 of the seats are in play, and some of them are very securely Democrat. So we'll have to see. But God forbid we get a Newsom in the White House with a democratically controlled Senate and House. You think bad things are bad under Joe Biden, they're going to go even further. With that said, I thought it'd be appropriate to read this passage from Matthew chapter 18. Beginning of Matthew chapter 18, because it relates to what we were just talking about. At that time, the disciples came to Jesus and said, "Who then is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven?" And he called a child. Sorry, guys, that may make the sound quality a lot better. I didn't realize it was hooked up to my headset. I thought I'd turned it off, but I had forgotten. At that time, the disciples came to Jesus and said to him, "Who then is greatest in the kingdom of heaven?" And he called a child to himself and set him before them and said, "Truly I say to you, unless you are converted and become like children, you will not enter the kingdom of heaven. Whoever then humbles himself as this child, he is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven. And whoever receives one such child in my name receives me. But whoever causes one of these little ones who believe in me to stumble, it would be better for him to have a heavy millstone hung around his neck and to be drowned in the depths of the sea." Boy, it is really picking up. I didn't expect the weather to get bad tonight. Now, this passage obviously deals partly with children and obviously deals partly with believers. And some feel it deals with both. Believers who are children in the faith. But there are those that lead astray. Children lead astray, believing children. And what Gavin Newsom has done by now, of course, he's not alone on this. His own legislature has helped make this a law. What he has done is he has led astray people to do wickedness, to take what God gave them, a body that is either male or female, and try to change that in a way that is not God honoring. That is a denial of the fact that we are created binary beings. I know that's a very unpopular concept, but we are truly male or female. You cannot alter that. You can take drugs, you can get surgery, you can wear certain clothes, whatever you might do, but you're still 100% biologically a male or a female, just as God created you, and that's how he meant you to be. And there is a very small percentage of the population that is so-called intersex, meaning that they have some secondary sexual characteristics that are a little bit sharing of characteristics between male and female, but that's extremely small population, and they're still going to have a predominance towards XY or XX chromosome. There is some conditions, I forget what they're exactly called. You've got XXX, you've got XY or XXY, you've got XYY. So sometimes you get an additional chromosome, much like you've got Down syndrome, which is trisomy 21, where you get 3 21st chromosomes, or partial of a third 21st chromosome. So there are intersex, but that's extremely, extremely rare. And generally, you're going to have a preponderance towards something else. But with that said, what Gavin Newsom has done is consistent with the warning in Matthew 18. It would be better if he had had a millstone tied around his neck and cast himself into the ocean. I'm not advocating. So before YouTube bots get all hot and bothered and say, we conservatives, you Christian nationalists, whatever they want to call me, are advocating violence. I am not. I wish Gavin Newsom a long and healthy life. More importantly, though, I wish that he would come to the Lord Jesus Christ and repent of what he's done, because few people in history get to cause as much damage as somebody leading a large government. And California, the state of California, is a very large government. And by doing this law, he may cause irreparable harm to many, many lives. One commentator pointed out that it's one thing for, let's say, a 17-year-old in violation of some state laws, in violation of their parents' expressed interests, go to California and get a gender-affirming surgery. It's one thing for them to do that and go and get that done at 17, but what's going to be like when they turn 25 and they suddenly realize, once their cortex is finished developing, I'd like to have children, but they can't because of their gender affirming surgery that they had, removing any secondary and reproductive organs, I should say, that allow them to do that. How are they going to feel when that happens? Or a number of them who end up wishing they had never transitioned, which does happen. How are they going to feel? How are they going to deal with that? It's going to be life-altering, and not just for a short time, but for the rest of their lives. So why, California? You are a massive cesspool. And I know there's good Californians, and I know there's some that cannot stand what the legislature is doing to that state, and Gavin Newsom is doing to that state. I know there are good people there. In fact, I just got a notification from a video from one of them, Pastor John MacArthur. Howdy, Jesus Saves. Thanks for joining me. So with that said, what Gavin Newsom has done is reprehensible. And he's going to run for president next term. I guarantee it. And with that said, we who are Christians need to plaster the internet, or the interwebs, as some people goofily say, with this exact information. This is what Gavin Newsom has done. Americans, do you want that? A lot of people voted against Donald Trump in the last election because they didn't like mean tweets. They had voted for him maybe previously, or they had been Republican, and they voted against him because they saw what they thought in Joe Biden to be a congenial old man who would be pleasant and kind. We have not gotten that. And Joe Biden and the progress that he's made for progressivism is preparing us for a Gavin Newsom on the Democratic side, who is going to take it that much further. We need to make sure that those Republicans that swung for Biden in the last election know just what they're getting in Gavin Newsom. And I'm pretty sure that most of them that would have previously voted Republican are going to go, yuck. And they will realize that that would be a bad mistake. But the mainstream media is not going to allow that to happen. So it's going to be our responsibility to make sure that gets out. I want to say something about Facebook. A lot of you, maybe on Facebook, I'm on there and I've waxed and waned in my time on there. And I would definitely encourage you, if you've only used Facebook for cute family pictures and puppy pictures and whatever scenery, if you are a conservative, evangelical, Bible believing, anti-current establishment person, you need to use whatever platform you got, whether it's Facebook or Instagram, to periodically show the truth. There's one YouTube channel, or is it YouTube? Or they might be on Rumble only now. No, it's Twitter, called Libs of TikTok. Libs of TikTok. All this lady does who runs it is she reposts liberal TikTok videos. That's it. No commentary, just the video. So that people can see the craziness that's come from the left. And it's not just the left, because a lot of people that are left-leaning don't do some of these things that these crazy wackos on TikTok are presenting and proposing. They don't do it, but they support candidates and policies that logically end up where these crazies on TikTok are. And so Libs of TikTok uses a platform to spread this information to other people. We need to do that with people like Gavin Newsom. He's signed this law into effect. It is on mainstream news, but they're going to kill it quickly. They're going to suppress it. It'll be news that'll pass by quickly and be gone. And the only reason I probably got it on my news feed is because the algorithms, my news searches are known to be including conservative news sources. So I will get that prompted, but a lot of people won't. And if all people do is follow the news prompts that are suggested by things like Apple, I still get mostly very liberal news sources through Apple, even though I've had this Apple phone now for 2 years. I still get just liberal news sources suggested to me, pretty much for the most part. But we've got to post on our media platforms leading up to the next elections, at least periodically, the truth of what these people are proposing. Stand up. And so what? You cause a little consternation in your family. If you can't be true to yourself around those so-called who love you, and they cut you off because of your opinions, because of your belief system, were they ever truly friends? And for the most part, family will stick with you, right? I mean, if it's truly family that you're close with, you've done things together, you've supported them in difficult times, you spend holidays with them. You know, they may not like you, they might not like your positions all the time, but they're still family. But you've got to express those opinions. And we live in an unprecedented time. Perhaps we're inundated with it too much. I'm a form of inundation in your life. If you're watching me on YouTube, I'm inundating you with more stuff than you probably really would like to focus on. And sometimes this stuff gives you a headache. And I know you want to shut down. Sometimes I do too. And there's times when I thought, maybe I'll just step away from all of it, not comment anymore. Just enjoy my family, work on, influencing my immediate circle of family and friends, and then that's it. But I've been given at least a small voice. I have an opportunity to maybe make an impact in some people's life, and hopefully for the positive, especially as far as I'm following Christ and following biblical principles, and I'm putting those forth. I have an opportunity to make an impact. So do you. And we need to make these policy decisions front and foremost in people's minds as we go into major changes in our policies in this country, in our states, etc. I'll give you an example. In Virginia right now, they're really starting to probe into whether they should actively research, those of us who have religiously exempted our children for homeschooling. What religious exemption means in Virginia is you don't need to report to the state anything. You just file a letter. I am homeschooling my children because of religious exemption, because of my beliefs and values, and that's it. And they don't have any say. And there are people that have actively been trying to delve into the family in Virginia, the religious exemption families. Why is that? Well, bring up another governor besides Gavin Newsom. So we have our governor in the state of Virginia. I've just blanked on his name. Anyway, it'll come to me in a little bit. But the reason he got into office was because we were having a lot of liberal agenda promoted in the school, gender affirming stuff, like allowing boys who think they're girls to use the bathrooms. And so there's a big hullabaloo made about one of the counties near Washington, D.C. And that making the news helped propel our current governor into office. Since that time, there's been a lot of effort to push back against him, against conservatism, and so Virginia is a hot topic for many on the progressive side because they believe we're taking steps backward towards affirming only a binary gender ideology. So, for example, we just got a bill passed or an executive order mandating that bathrooms are truly binary in the school, and that for example, if a child is contemplating being another gender, that the parent is informed of that if they're under the age of 18, which is only right, is only true. So anyway, what's happened from that is now, because homeschooling's grown so much, and because a good portion of the homeschoolers in Virginia are religiously exempt and clearly not teaching the typical public school sexual agenda stuff, they're proposing that they investigate, that they actively seek out to investigate religiously exempt families. And that's a problem. We need to make sure that's clear. And so again, I'm going to just urge you to use your social platforms to at least periodically bring this stuff up. And that's about all I'm going to say for now. I appreciate you listening. Hope you're having a great night. Take care, and God bless.